Scout, what you got going on over there? You gonna fly? What's going on? Did it get away from you? She loves to sit and look out the door. And she's zeroed in on a fly. You silly puppy. You silly puppy. Alright, it's a beautiful Sunday morning. Scout, that's not for you. Ed has made some crazy concoction for breakfast. Ed, could you describe this thing for us, please?
Well, it's French toast made on extremely sourdough bread with cheese on top, and then fried potatoes and onions that are kind of spicy with pepper.
How'd you have this idea? Have you ever had anything like that?
No, just...
We need a name for it. We need a name for it.
Yeah, because it's like savory French toast, not sweet.
All right, this looks amazing. Thanks, honey. We're going to dig into this.
All right, here it is. I got the Multi-Plus completely installed. I still have to do a little bit of cleanup with the wiring. This is the cable that I hook to the computer. Because I have to hook it to the computer in a little while, I'm not done, and I need to vacuum in here, but it's all hooked up completely. I had to do an install where I mounted it horizontally instead of vertically. My two main battery cables I had, the 2-aught cables, were just a little bit short, and they were about an inch. One was an inch and a half short, the other one was 2 inches short, and I really don't want to go make new battery cables in Flagstaff. Plus, honestly, you want the battery cables to be as short as possible, so the other inverter I had was designed to be run on its side like it was, and so that's the length that the guy who did the installation for me cut all the cables. It's not that they were done wrong or anything, it's just they were just a little bit too short, and I really don't need to go spend another 45 bucks in cables just to make them reach when this thing can be installed vertically or horizontally. And honestly, mounted horizontally like this, it's even got more ventilation room, and I built a nice little wood stand to keep it up off the floor. So all I really need to do is just do some vacuuming now. You can see the solar controller, charge controller is working great. It's on float. I already did a full load of laundry on the solar, and everything works great. It's a lot quieter than our other inverter. I mean, the other inverter was a lot louder. This one's very quiet. With the Bluetooth, I can turn the inverter on and off. I can make it charger only, and I can adjust the incoming voltage from the shore power, or generator technically. I also have an interface that hooks up directly to my computer to do updates, and to be able to adjust every single thing there is about this can be done from the computer. So I'll be doing that later on. Maybe I'll include a little clip of that in another video, but probably not. Okay, so I've started taking off this lower front lip. It's only held on with a bunch of screws. What it does is it sticks down a lot farther in the front than the rest of the body line. And with the dirt roads around here, they're always a little bit high in the middle, and that's where it's just barely scraping a little bit. So if I take that off, the body line, it actually will look more like it's supposed to. And I don't see any reason for that to be there. That's just probably to help with airflow, and probably to give you a little warning scrape. It's just held on with small Phillips screws. This is my helper. All right, so that's it. With it taken off there, you can see that the body line matches now. And that thing scraped on every driveway. I mean, even when you went through at a 45-degree angle, that thing scraped. Yeah, the body lines look much better. Cool. So I took this dish from my sister, and we've been putting water in it, kind of like a bird bath. And the reason why there's all those pieces of glass in there is to create a shallow area so when the bees land there they can get a drink and not drown. So anyway, I also wanted to show this stump. I cut this stump down last year and it had been dead for quite a while. It was literally dried out, which is why it's cracked so much. It was dried out while it was standing, and I cut it up. If you look closely, there's literally hundreds of rings. They're very, very, very small. It's because this thing grew its entire life in drought conditions. I mean, it would take a long time to go through and count all those rings, but there's definitely more than a couple hundred. That's just to give you an idea how old these trees are. And this is a pinyon pine tree. This is a Colorado pinyon. But because it grew with the grain so tight, it's literally hard as oak. It's unlike any pine I've seen. I've burned a lot of ponderosa pine and other types of pine and fir and never seen anything this hard. So we've had 3 rainstorms now. 2 of them, it only rained for probably about 10 minutes. One storm we had rained for over an hour and we got a lot of rain. But even though we're in a drought, the trees here on the property don't know it. They've got good, fresh green growth. After the rainstorms, I mean, they turned several shades darker green. The pinyons are doing great. The pinyon pines are doing great. So are all these junipers. And the heat is gone. The heat wave is finally gone. It has been in the low to mid 80s. Like today, the high is 85. We've got monsoon clouds. Looks like there's that whole dark area down there, that's directly over the Raphael fire down near Sedona, west of Sedona. So that's good. It's going to start drowning that out. But the weather pattern we're getting into now is more like a typical monsoon this time of year. Normally the monsoons start right towards the end of June. And they roll in every day and the temperatures stay in the 80s, and that's exactly where we're at right now. They're starting to flower. Look at that. All right, so with the drought and all the recent fire danger and everything, it kind of made me curious about how many trees that we have here on the 40 acres and how many trees there are on each one of our parcels. So I went around yesterday. It took me about 2 hours to go around the whole 40 acres and count all the trees. I went back and I missed at least 10, probably 10 across the whole 40 acres. So the count is actually low. Nothing got counted twice. I just wanted to go ahead and preface that. How many trees there were really blew me away. I made a list here. So let's start with me and Sue, our 10 acres. I have 187 trees. On Aja's 20 acres, and we knew her 20 acres had less. Aja's 20 acres has 183 trees. And Bruce's 10 acres has a whopping 196 trees. We have 2 kinds of juniper. I believe one is the Utah juniper and the other is the alligator juniper. The pinyon pine trees we have are the Colorado pinyon. That makes a total of 566 trees on the 40 acres. So what that comes out to is, so that's 14.15 trees per acre over the 40 acres. And what that breaks down to is 18.7 trees per acre for my 10 acres. Aja's is 9.15 trees per acre for her 20. And Bruce has 19.6 trees per acre for his 10 acres. There's all the totals. It really blew me away how many trees there are. So, while we own this property here, the 40 acres or each one of our own parcels, we are technically in charge of our own small forest, and we are the stewards of it. It's up to us to see to it that all of this survives. So yeah, I thought that was awesome. Okay, everybody, Scout just told me that the gray school bus is either going to be a hotel that Aja is going to create out of the schoolie, or me and Sue are going to build a schoolie. One of those two. Scout just told me everybody needs to stay tuned. Probably towards the end of the summer is when we're going to find out the answers to these burning questions. Look at her, she's stone-faced. She won't say a word. Well, Scout told me that these are either the answers to these burning questions, or maybe she's just fooling. We don't know. We just don't know. This is the first time I've seen her hold out on me for information. I don't know what to believe. Scout! Scout, tell us. Tell us, which is it? We need to know. Come on, Scout, we need to know.